So I'm starting to feel that combination of excitement and nervousness that always seems to precede the next step on the Exodus journey. And I wanted to share with you three ways that I'm preparing for this next step because I'm not the only one taking the next step. The world is slowly but surely opening up to us, and we can all feel it. And so we need to prepare for what's coming up next. Now, there's three things I'm reflecting on that I want to share with you in this video. The first is what habits of my life withstood this time of the pandemic. And for me, if I think of all of those things, the key one is family. I loved the way that my family not only held together, but a lot of my relationships with family went deeper during this pandemic than they had prior to. For example, with my son being at home with school, we would take a family lunch break. We'd play games, we'd spend time together until my son had to go up for his next class and I'd start work again. And even with other family members, we had Zoom calls as a group. We made contact with each other more regularly, whether it was texting, phone calls, or Zoom. And so those relationships deepened. So that's something that I definitely want to take with me into the next step of the Exodus journey because my family withstood the test of the pandemic. It's a strong core part of who I am. The second thing I think about is what are the new habits that I've developed during the time of the pandemic that I want to take with me into this new future. And for me, the obvious one is related to my weight. I wasn't hugely overweight, but I was just like a lot of folks I knew my age and had put on some pounds over time. But during the pandemic, my wife and I started this thing with Optavia, which I'd recommend them. I tried keto, I tried all sorts of diet stuff. But with Optavia, the thing that surprised both of us is that we now weigh less than we weighed when we got married. And we both, did not think that was going to happen. I definitely didn't. I had just resigned myself. Well, that's just part of getting older. But through this Optavia program, I am lighter than I've been since college. And man, it feels good. It has an impact on my whole life. And so the weight loss that I experienced during this time is something that I want to take with me. Now we're off of the Optavia and we're doing calorie counting. And that calorie counting as a way of dealing with food is super helpful and something I'm taking with me on the Exodus journey. The third thing that I think about is what are some of the things that I let go of that I want to leave behind, that I do not want to take with me on the next step. And the obvious thing for me is related to food, again, because what I used to do, portion control was my problem. I used to just if it was on my plate, I felt like I needed to eat the whole thing. But what I learned with this Optavia deal was to eat more often, but less, and to just watch the calories. And underneath that was a way that I was using food. I was using food to really as a mood changer. I would go grab something to eat if I just needed to change my mood quickly without dealing what was actually going on inside of me. And so I started to use food differently. And what I want to let go and leave behind is that use of food as kind of a suppressant. And instead, I want to deal with the issues that come up, try to work through the thoughts that are causing me to have the feelings that I'm having that I don't like, and do that in a much more proactive way. And then enjoy my food in moderate portions because of the enjoyment of food, just for that in itself. So there's a lot of other things as I think about this that I want to take with me on the Exodus journey, but I just wanted to share these few things with you. And encourage you to think think those three questions through in your own life. Because again, I thought at first I was the only one going on this Exodus journey when I was choosing to leave working within the center of the institutional church and moving out to the fringes to work with people that are struggling in their spiritual journey because they can't make the institutional church work with them. But what I'm finding through this pandemic is we're all going through an Exodus journey. So think this through so that you can join me and we can all be ready to make good happen in this brave new world that's before us. Thanks.